1 year went by before I realized it. I traveled the world.
André Bronnimann llegaba a este continente como parte de un proyecto documental que está haciendo para el progresista colegio que lo vio graduarse tan solo hace unos meses y que hoy lo está llevando a darle la vuelta al mundo.
When I look back at those memories, all I can see are faces. Faces that remind me of the beauty we sometimes choose to neglect. Faces that, despite of the conditions that made them who they are, shaped and redefined my way of living forever. I was supposed to do a long promotional video about international schools around the globe, but something happened. I experienced the world. I saw the sun rising from different perspectives. I lived through the contrast and breathed the colors. And at the end of this hectic journey, I found something. Something that I never thought I would ever find, that made me realize I wasn't longer doing just a video. I was spreading through cinema a revolutionary idea. The story of this documentary.
The story of the United World Colleges, or UWC, is, as so many other extraordinary human achievements, the result of an individual's single-minded passion, coupled with uncommonly brave decisions taken in an environment of adversity.
In 1962, world peace was threatened by the most critical period in history since the end of the war.
The birth of the UWC stems from one man's improbable educational vocation, inspired by the painful self-discovery of his own disabilities, his subsequent deduction of the healing powers of direct experience, and the crucial moral challenges he faced in the period before and after the two world wars.
So Kurt Hahn was a German Jew who was an educationalist and was running a school in Germany. He escaped Germany, and he decided to found a school in the UK with the goal of preventing what happened with World War II from ever happening in the future. So about 50 years ago, the first United World College was founded in Wales, called Atlanta College. And the goal of that college was to bring people together from around the world, but in particular people who might be in conflict with each other, so that at an early age they would learn to understand each other and they would be less likely to engage in conflict with each other.
But the first concrete vision of Atlantic College came to him in 1955 while visiting the NATO Staff Training College, where he witnessed firsthand the benefits of training mature officers of many nationalities, learning to work peacefully on a common task. It was then that he imagined how even more profoundly transformative an experience it could be if taught to impressionable youth from around the world.
Imagine this castle on a hill, in a place where almost nobody lives. In this castle, every second, every day, magic happens. Magic happens in the cafeteria of the castle, where students sit together with other students from 10 other countries and talk about world issues while eating their lasagna. It happens in economics class when students are talking with internationals about economic dilemmas that are plaguing the whole entire world. It happens in the rooms in the castle where students live with different students from a totally different part of the world and live with them and learn to cooperate with them for 24 hours a day. Then it's these very students who go on decades later to become the change makers of their country. They lead the world that we are today.
Since the creation of Atlantic College in 1962, UWC is nowadays a network composed by 14 UWC schools and colleges, more than 145 national selection committees, and almost 50,000 alumni.
United World College of Southeast Asia, Pearson College in the 1970s. We had Waterford Camp Lava in Swaziland, UWC Adriatic and UWC USA, and then 3 in the 90s. We put Jiang UWC in Hong Kong, Red Cross Nordic UWC and Mahindra College in India. Then the final 3 editions, UWC Costa Rica and UWC Mostar in 2006, and then UWC Maastricht in 2009, and that's where we are now, awaiting the addition of 2 further colleges in 2014 in Germany and Armenia.
I traveled the world with an open mind. I'd witnessed humanity's need for impactful and benevolent actions from passionate people. Over the span of a year, I visited 6 very similar yet unique UWCs on 5 different continents. And after living with these students on a daily basis and meeting influential teenagers from all over the world, I started to ask myself, why is UWC called a movement and not just another collection of international schools? And how can something as small as a school be considered a movement in such a big world? By asking these questions, I found an answer that I really didn't expect. Located 1 hour away from the city of Pune in India, is one of the most unique boarding schools in Asia, the Mahindra United World College. Denmark! Kenya! I had many life-changing experiences at the first 2 United World Colleges I traveled to in Wales and Swaziland. As I spent more and more time visiting these UWCs, my understanding of these schools as a whole grew. It was at UWC Mahindra, halfway through my journey, that I began to change my perception of how the United World Colleges empowered its students to make change. Every person at UWC has an incredible, unique story to share. And although I wish I was capable to capture them all, these are the few I have the chance to share with you. The first at UWC Mahindra was that of Fatima Shafa. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, but what am I going to say?
Okay, just say your name, age, and country, and, well, your story, okay?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so my name is Fatima Shafa, and I come from a really small country which is Maldives, that's in Indian Ocean, and it has the population of around 300,000. And I come from a really small family as well. My mom, my brother, and my twin sister. My dad, he left us when we were not born. Yeah, my mom was the only one who struggled a lot for our education and food, housing, everything. So she was a teacher before, but she had a thyroid operation, and in that operation she lost her voice. She couldn't speak, and she was writing on papers and communicating for some time. Right now she whispers a bit, but it's not her real voice. And I had a rough time in my childhood. It was like hard. And my sister and I, we weren't able to get like everything needed, so we would share all the time. So in one way, it's a good feeling that I always shared everything with my sister. Again, we didn't have enough money to build a house to live, and we had to move from house to house, and we sometimes didn't have enough food to eat, and because my mom was the only one earning and she wouldn't get enough money, so it was kind of a really hard time when we didn't get enough food to eat, and she would grow some papaya in a farm, and that's what our meal was. And so yeah, that's kind of a hard time for a child. When I got the news, I was really, really happy. I was feeling like my life is gonna change from now. And my mom, she was so happy that she got the phone call when she was on the street, and she started crying. I was one of the 2 students who was selected for UWC. And from that time, my mom started saving a lot to buy me a new laptop. She got me a mini laptop, but for me it was the biggest gift ever. My mom wanted to stitch new clothes and everything for me so that I won't feel bad living with that's what she thought, that I would be living with people who would wear the fancy clothes and everything. I feel like I'm so lucky to be here in an environment where there is no kind of discrimination, where you're coming from, the background, financial background, family background doesn't matter at all here, and it feels so good, and it feels like it's a different world. Sometimes when I get to choose, there is like in cafeteria there are big meals here, and I choose the food I want to eat, and I'm living such a luxurious life here, and my family is there. I don't even know if they get food for time. Sometimes I can't even, swallow the food, thinking that once I was eating a piece of papaya for every meal, and now I'm like, oh my god, it's like different. It's really, really different. I'm eating such good food here, and I don't know, it's different. Sorry. Hoping, inshallah, to go to US and study there and become a good person and come back to my country and be someone who everybody would remember.
So we're sitting in the bus going to the castle, and everyone was excited. We are finally there. Suddenly, we just hear slamming. All the students were slamming their hands on the windows, and the whole entire bus was like, where are we going?
The second years were outside, they were really banging. They had their costumes on, paint, face paint. They had their pots and pans. They were really banging, trying to make me feel welcome.
As soon as I got off the bus, my roommate from the Netherlands hugged me and said, "Welcome to UWC, it's gonna be one hell of a year." And those words rung in my head for the next 24 hours, and they still do, because we did have a hell of a time.
UWC is a place where people do the learning from each other as opposed to just from their classes, where you can stay up till 3 a.m. in the day room talking about drone strikes in Afghanistan or about gun control in America with someone who's from Afghanistan.
They're cheap labor, low price.
That's a flaw in the market, but again,
I don't think that other kinds of dependencies between different countries.
There's not going to be any more cheap labor anymore, because
right,
as every country.
When everybody is at the top, who's at the bottom?
UWC is nothing without the students. When you put more than 150 teenagers from every nationality in one of the 14 UWC campuses around the world, you create something unique. A subculture with its own traditions, rituals, and values, reflected through the different experiences such as shows, dances, activities, classes, sports, adventures, lectures, workshops, music, songs from all over the planet, community meetings and general assemblies, teams, student-led projects that exceed the standard expectations for a high school student.
Freedom, guidance, and support.
Discussions on and off the classroom that open new horizons. Random but magical moments, intensified feelings, and cultural misunderstandings that lead to challenging dilemmas and debates. And the list goes on and on. In my visit to the different UWCs, I was able to live and capture these platforms that UWC sets for its students on a daily basis to create a powerful community where they can develop a different mindset and perspective of life. Here is a small number of those UWC moments.
I come from a country where homosexuality is highly criticized. Some people even get arrested when they are discovered that they are gay. When I came to UWC Costa Rica, I discovered out that my roommate was gay. I was so shocked at first because I didn't know how gay people look like, because before then I never was close to any gay person. And then I was trying to find ways on how I would have a conversation with him and ask him more about homosexuality.
I remember the first time you actually came to me to ask about it, and I remember I was really shocked because I thought that coming from a very conservative context, you would be maybe more judgmental.
He was so happy to tell me more about homosexuality, about his cultural beliefs, and also about atheists.
I didn't want to talk about it, maybe in order to maintain a good relationship in the room. But then I learned that maybe by me thinking he was going to react badly, I was the one being judgmental.
I was really happy to learn about it, and now I feel that if I find someone being discriminated because he's like that, I can be able to stand for that person, because that person is now my friend.
My football team, soccer league, FSU as we like to call it, my most special activity on campus because it's so international and it's so different from any team I've ever played for before. You're like brothers on the field. You fight together, you win together, you lose together.
Many of these guys grow up in the respective countries, the respective states, and they play with guys who have the same playing style as them. And then you come here and you're mixed in with a group of students, a group of guys who don't play the same way, and it makes it extremely unique because they're united by one thing, which is the game that they all love.
You have your captain from the Netherlands that you look up to so much that you just want to play with. You have a guy from Japan who every time he knocks someone over helps them up even if it wasn't his fault, and is constantly apologizing because he's just one of the best people you've ever met on and off the field. And then when you win the game, on the way back home, you have your goalie from Swaziland who turns up the music all the way in the minibus, and it's an African chorus song and starts screaming it. And next thing you know, everyone on the team is screaming an African chorus song at the top of their lungs as we barrel down the highway, and it's just special.
It's so amazing. I have a disability, and I remember back home, people didn't used to treat me as well as here. They will mock on me, or they will disappoint me in many ways. However, here in UWC, and they treat each other so well that it makes me want to treat them well. It's a love feeling that just goes from one person to the other and multiplies and just spreads away. And I think that's how the world should be like, right?
You know probably never gonna see them again. You know you're never gonna have these moments again, and so you just wanna cherish that and take as much as you can from this experience.
Well, yeah, UWC is definitely home. That's the perfect word to describe it.
The UWC Atlantic College is amazing school in the world.
When it's sunny, I love to go outside and I feel the sun on my face. And I imagine the sky is so bright and there's no cloudy. And also, I love to go to the beach and I love the smell of the ocean. It smells so wonderful for me and I feel relaxed and play with the water. I am Marta. I am from Ethiopia and I am blind. I lost my sight when I was 4 years old and then I went to boarding school for the blind in North Gondar and I learned how to read and writing Braille there.
Marta's performance was similar to the academic record of other students we had taken from similar schools in Ethiopia, but as you know, she was blind. One of the things we thought, wow, that's somebody who's got a lot of drive and wants to do amazing things both for herself and, in her case, for other visually impaired people in her home country and around the world.
When I came to Pearson College, it was a challenge to navigate the new environment because everything is new. After 2 weeks, I navigate the direction, the campus, so I feel good. Most of the students were scared of me because I think they don't know a blind person before. However, there was one person that wasn't scared of me.
The first time we really started to interact and I guess our friendship started to really form was probably in biology class, when we sat next to each other and we'd always talk over different diagrams and we went to the whale soon afterwards. And it was so interesting to me because Marta looked at everything in a different way. So it was like learning twice in the same class.
She explained to me the whale, how their fingers and their arms are joined. Even though her accent was tough to understand for me because for me she has a unique accent, USA accent. We both are from different societies, different culture, and we have our own perspectives. Also, she's sighted and I'm blind, but it doesn't matter, still we are best friends.
Over the year and a half that I've known her now, she's gotten so much braver and she has so much more willingness to try new things. Marta, would you like to do this? Maybe, and then we'll try it. And with that trying, she usually ends up succeeding in some way, and that's what's great about it.
Marta is a role model for everyone because of her endurance to achieve her goals despite her lack of sight, and I find that really empowering.
But I think when people see how well she is doing and how hard she is working and how much of a challenge she is facing, literally not being able to read, to see, so I think she's been a real inspiration of what it means to be tenacious, to have great motivation, not to give up, to have a smile on her face, and to face adversity and challenge with aplomb.
When I think of Marta and her spirit, just this inner beauty that is just wanting to come out through her words and her actions, she has this inner vision that made through her imagination, she can see what she wants the world to be like. She can imagine reforming the education system.
I need to make a change to my society and then I need to work with them.
She can imagine doing all these different things. And no matter if she's blind or if she's Ethiopian or whatever's holding her back, she can imagine how to get over those obstacles. And that's what makes that spirit so fantastic, that it has that ability and that strength and that determination to do all of that, and it's just driven purely by imagination and her other 4 senses that she still has.
ማየት የተሳነኝ የሆንኩትኝ የ4ኛ ዓመት ልጅ እያለሁ ነበረ። ከዛም በኋላ ወደ አይነ ስውራን አዳሪ ትምህርት ቤት ሄድኩኝና ብሬልን ለማንበብና ለመጻፍ በቃ።
Now that being blind is not a barrier to finding my way around Pearson College, I feel more confident to take on new challenges.
አመሰግናለሁኝ.
Thank you.
And now everything's changed. So I'm wonderful and grateful.
And education is the ultimate key, because it is not only about the academics and the subjects and what you can learn on books. Education is about empathy, it is about problem solving, it is about collaboration, it is about creativity, and it is about passion.
At the end of this journey, we end up, in fact, using education as a force to unite people, cultures, and races. And I don't think we ever intended to. It just happened.
It's not just an international school, it's as they say, it's a movement. You know, they bring people here not just because they want to bring them together. They want to bring these people here to make a change. You know, they teach us how to be leaders. They teach us what to do. They teach us how to see the world with a different perspective. You know, to embrace the whole thing. You know, be closer to your friends. Make a new community. You know, to interact with other people. It's not just bringing people to one place and then expecting them to learn what we're teaching them. It's to create this new community, this new family, so we can, you know, change the world. That's what it is. It's a big idea, so that us little people can make it a reality.
Every UWC school is different, starting off with the location, the teachers, the activities, etc. But no matter in which of the 14 campuses around the world you are, you get a particular and similar feeling. Some kind of UWC-ness that connects everything together and makes it all work. So when students graduate from UWC, they don't just get a degree. They become part of a worldwide web of people, friends, and contacts. A network that maintains itself together because of one common goal and belief, which is clearly stated in the mission statement of the United World Colleges. And thus, it stops being a school, and it becomes a movement that spreads like the fire.
It's more about ideals rather than just an organization that look for education around the world.
It's not just about the statistics to try to look good on the pamphlet, like, oh look, there's a black person in the picture. They're truly trying to make everyone have the opportunity to attend this school and make the most out of the world so that they can create, you know, a better world in the end, because that's the objective. It's not just to make money or to look good on a pamphlet or give jobs to people.
It's not only the 200 students here at UWC USA, but it's the students in Swaziland and Mahindra and Adriatic and Atlantic, and then there's the thousands of alumni from past years, and there's the thousands of students who are coming into the school, and it's just this huge connection and network of people that all have just share this common ground.
There's a whole graduate network. There's a community of people who together have certain ideals about what education should look like and what role education can play in the world.
There's a website called UWC Connect, where students can interact with each other, start projects, can invite other UWC students to their house to share their experiences. Things like that are really important, I think, to like hold us together as a community and remind each other all the time that we are UWC students, that we have a mission to change this world in some way.
This idea that everywhere we go there's a face, and there's a global network of faces everywhere we go, and there's this global care and connection that makes us trust each other naturally, which might seem odd, but that's the way it is.
This summer I went interrailing and I met people from UWC on the streets wearing the UWC t-shirt, and immediately there's something about that connects you to them. You might have been in a different school, in a different country, in a different continent even, but the experiences that you went through, the people that you were with, there's something so similar in those experiences that brings you together.
A kind of an invisible movement. It's hard to see the movement taking place in the short run. I think that this movement takes place in very subtle ways, and it's more evident in the long run.
We're less interested in what our alumni go on to do than the way in which they do it. Our mission is about creating a more peaceful and sustainable world. We can only achieve that mission if we think in terms of impact. And impact to me primarily means the impact that our alumni can go on to have in the world through their own action and personal example.
UWC is definitely a representation of the world, I guess at a smaller scale, to really discuss all these different difficult issues and topics. And if we can solve them here, and if we can create this atmosphere that's safe, then just expanding that, we should be able to do this globally.
Every time when I come back to Limón, I realize how life has surprised me. Life is based on decisions, good decisions and bad decisions. 4 years ago, I decided to follow my passion. My name is Kevin Molina. I'm from Costa Rica. I'm 19 years old. When I was 12 years old, I got the opportunity to be in a soccer academy. Since then, I got this crazy dream to become a professional player. I come from Limón, the Caribbean part of Costa Rica. This place is very dangerous and unsafe. A lot of crimes, drugs, violence in the streets, people murdering each other. It was very, very, very rough to grow up there. In Limón, I met several people. The most important ones, my friends. I spent a lot of time with them in school, like playing football all the time. But later, the situation will become sad and upset when they decide to not the right decisions and they start going in the wrong ways. 4 of them are dead now. 2 of them are in jail. And I don't know what happened with the 4 or 5 of them. I don't really know what's going on with them now. Just the situation is just driving me crazy because I don't know. It's crazy to think about it that I used to spend so much time with them and now I don't have them anymore. I don't know where they are. Because of my friends and my own decisions, I did a lot of mistakes. I started selling drugs, being part of violence, being part of the reality in Limón. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud that I sold drugs. I'm not proud that I was involved in that environment, the environment of drugs, the environment of violence. I'm not proud of it. But I'm glad that I experienced that because I don't know, like it makes me grow up as a person. It makes me grow up as a human being. I don't know, but I just all those kind of things, like those actions, those bad actions, bad decisions, just makes me wake up. I saw my friends, I saw people in my environment, and then I was thinking, I don't want to be like them. I want to be different. I want to be somebody, and I don't want to be stuck in here, you know. And I don't know, like I started just believing myself, like putting a lot of effort and study, like football, like practice every day, hours and hours. I was confused. I was putting a lot of effort. I was like, my friends were like, man, don't go to school. Let's go to, I don't know, let's hang out in another place. I was like, no, I'm going to school. I took the decision because something in myself, my passion, and like a voice in my mind, like telling me like, don't be like them. Get out of there. Like follow your dream, man. And in 2011, one of the greatest news comes. I got selected in the United World College's Fuller Scholarship, and I was like, there it is. I got it. I definitely got it. Like after all of effort, after all these crazy moments that I live, like this is the first step to become different. Those people, that community, they were like me. They were like trying to follow their goals. They were trying to be someone, like trying to change society. And I was like, this is what I was looking for. I don't know. It was great. It was really great. 1 year ago, I graduated from United World College, Costa Rica, and I won on a scholarship to play football in the US. I'm doing great. I'm just living my dream now.
Sometimes I like to take a walk on a dirt trail and come across a pile of rocks where you can just sit and look at the castle. But there I realize that the castle is only a structural symbol of what happens within its walls. And you realize how alive you are in that moment, because not only are you physically using all of your senses to take everything in, but you know that subconsciously you're internalizing an experience that goes beyond the castle, which used to be the symbol of UWC, and instead UWC becomes a symbol of how you have chosen to live your life. I always wonder how many people have sat there before me and also felt this way. And that while for me in New Mexico it might be sitting at those rocks, and for someone in Costa Rica it might be something else, or for someone in Canada it might be walking in the woods, in Swaziland it might be sitting at the top of a mountain, or in Wales it might be walking on a coastal path looking out at the ocean, and in India it might be watching the sunrise from an internet tower. But ultimately, it's the feeling of being alive and knowing that there's a whole web of people just like you who have experienced UWC, and realizing that even though you may never meet them, you are bound together by this movement. And in that precise moment, you feel like something inside of you has changed forever.
What was so surreal about those places? About the people that inspire me every day to try to be better? I watched all the interviews over again, thinking that maybe by looking through their answers, through their voices and opinions, I was going to be able to understand a little bit more about the fuel that drives this educational movement, its essence, the intangible part of UWC. And then it hit me. What Fatima, Marta, Joe and Kevin, and all the other UWC students like Chisomo, Cesar or Sebastian had in common was a consciousness that has shaped their lives. The existence of the UWC spirit. 1 year went by before I realized it. I traveled the world.
The UWC spirit comes organically out of a process of putting teenagers from all over the world together. It's the idea that we start seeing a country not only as another statistic or a number, but as a face that we put to a personal story. It's the idea that we start caring about the world in a different way, and we create compassion and empathy that we will carry on in our future decisions.
When I look back at those memories, all I can see are faces. Faces that remind me of the beauty we sometimes choose to neglect. Faces that, despite of the conditions that made them who they are, shaped and redefined my way of living forever. I was supposed to do a long promotional video about international schools around the globe, but something happened. I experienced the world.
I think what we need is come alive. Do what makes you come alive. And when you do something that makes you come alive, there's a spark, and you can end up sparking those around you. And I think that's what UWC does, is it makes people come alive and understand who they are and what they want to do. And when they go out in the world like that, it ends up changing it.
I saw the sun rising from different perspectives. I lived through the contrast and breathed the colors. And at the end of this hectic journey, I found something. Something that I never thought I would ever find. Something that made me realize I wasn't longer doing just a video. I was spreading through cinema a revolutionary idea. The story of this documentary.